So my name is Gift Chungu Chungu. So I want us to look at what is called linguistic analysis. Linguistic analysis. So when you're looking at linguistic analysis is just the analyzation of languages that we have in linguistics. So now we have what we call linguistic analysis. Now this linguistic analysis is divided in the following things, in the following items. The first linguistic analysis that we look at is what we call phonetics. The first linguistic analysis that we look at is what we call phonetics. So when we are looking at phonetics, phonetics is the study of sound in general. So when you are looking at the study of sounds, there are three things that are important when you are looking at the study of sound. The first thing is what we call articulation. The first thing is what we call articulation. The second thing is what we call transmission. Transmission. The last one is what we call perception. Perception. So what we are really looking at here is one, how sound is articulated or produced, how sound move, and how sound is perceived. Meaning, when you are looking at sound articulation, we have what we call the three branches of phonetics. When you are dealing with articulation, we are looking at we are actually looking at articulatory what? Articulatory phonetics. At articulatory what? Phonetics. So how sound is articulated, that is what we call articulated what? Phonetics. And then now we also have what we call acoustic what? Phonetics. Acoustic phonetics. That is another branch. And the last one here is what we call now auditory phonetics. That is auditory phonetics. Now, what do we look at when we are looking at articulatory phonetics? What do we look at when we are looking at articulatory phonetics? So when you're looking at articulatory phonetics, we are looking at how sound is produced, or we are saying sound production. Sound production. So when we are looking at sound production there, what we are interested in looking at is now how sound is produced. That is why we have what we call the IPA. We have what we call the IPA. The IPA is actually what we call the International Phonetic Alphabet that looks at how each and every sound is supposed to be produced or is supposed to actually come out. And then now, under articulatory phonetics, we have actually what we call the VPM. The voice, we have what we call the voice, the analyzation of a sound, voice. We also have place. We also have now manner. So for instance, we have this sound. We have this sound. This sound can actually be analyzed as the voiceless, place, that is bilabial, voiceless, bilabial, and then manner, it is a plosive. So this is what we look at on articulation or sound production. So that is what we are looking at on articulation of what? Articulation of sound, or articulated what? Phonetics. And then we also have what we call acoustic phonetics. Acoustic phonetics. So this one, acoustic, deals with transmission of sound. Transmission of what? Of sound. This one is actually how sound is transmitted in form of what? In form of waves. The loud and the low tone. How these sounds are produced. Are we going to produce this sound with that loudness or low? That is what we look at when we are looking at what? Sound transmission. How is that sound going to be transmitted? And we know that sound is transmitted through waves. So we know that sound is actually transmitted through what? Through waves. So what we are looking at is now how sound is transmitted. And now, lastly, we are looking at perception of what? Of sound. That is auditory what? Auditory phonetics. So when we say auditory, this is coming from the word audio. This is coming from the word audio. And when you look at audio, you're talking about the ear. So meaning as you speak, so what we are looking at here is this. So the first thing is production. The first thing is production. Production. That is the first. The second is transmission. The second is transmission. The third is perception. So meaning what we have here is on production, how sound is produced. This one is how sound is produced. Sound production. That is what we look at. And then here is how sound is transmitted. The how sound is what? Transmitted. Sound is transmitted. Sound transmission. That is what we look at there. And then here is now perception. How it is perceived now. How is sound perceived? That is what we are looking at here. That is what we are actually looking at here. So what we have is when someone has produced something, or when someone is speaking, how there are parts, body parts that are going to be involved. That is on production. There are body parts that are going to be involved. Meaning, are we involving lips? Are we involving these lips? That is why here we said voiceless bilabial what? Plosive. Because in production of sound, we have actually organs that are going to be involved. When we say bilabial, meaning we are saying lips. Both lips are what? Bi means two, meaning both lips are what? Are involved. That is what we are trying to say when we say the bilabial what? Bilabial, bilabial. And then now when sound is produced, it should be transmitted. And that is what we look at now here. And that is now on acoustic what? Phonetics. So meaning this sound, when it is produced, it has to be transmitted. When it is transmitted, it should actually reach someone's what? Here. For example, this one. So meaning when when this person will actually hear this what? This sound is going to be is going actually to move to the what? To the brain. So this sound is going to move to the brain, where the brain, this brain that we are looking at, will actually interpret the message. The message or the meaning. The meaning of what? Of the sound. Meaning that is when now you understand to say, okay, Mr. Chungu is actually saying he is going to bath. For example, when I say I'm going to bath, you understand it because this actually what happens here in phonetics is going to happen very fast, in the sense that you are not even going to actually know that this sound is changing into meaningful what? Meaningful message. So that is what happens. That is what we are trying to look at, or that is what we are looking at. So meaning there is sound production, sound transmission, and sound what? And the sound perception. That is what we are looking at. That is what we are looking at on what? On phonetics. And then the other linguistic analysis will actually be looked at in the next video that I am going to post. Thank you very much for watching.